Terry Crews. T. Crews, what's up, man?
Oh, man,
long
it is
time
a
no see,
pleasure.
man. How you
I know.
been?
It's been good, man. It's been a long time.
It's been a very long time. Because I remember I used to bump into you all the time, especially at events at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I hadn't seen you in a long time. And you said, a lot of things, you had the COVID and, the family, got grandkids now. So it's just not as portable as it used to be.
Yes.
But how you been, man?
I've been great, man. I've been really, really good. I'm just thankful, bro.
Right.
Just thankful to still be here.
Right.
That's the big thing.
Let's get back to, you did play in the National Football League, but I'm gonna go back to your high school and growing up. You grew up in Flint.
Yeah.
When you were small, what did you want? Was football on the list? Did you want to be a professional football player? What did you want to be growing up in Flint?
Coming up in Flint, I always knew I wanted to be in entertainment.
Okay.
Because I came from the art thing. I was an artist, painting, drawing,
oh, really? Okay.
Sketching. My first scholarship wasn't in football. I had a scholarship to Western Michigan University as an artist.
Okay.
And then I walked on to the football team.
Right. Had that bug, huh?
Listen, well, this is the thing about football. What was kind of crazy with me is that football was a way out of Flint, Michigan. Okay. I followed all the greats. There was Andre Rison.
Yep.
There was Carl Banks.
Yep.
There were the people, even just any kind of athletic. I mean, Glenn Rice went to Flint. I used to watch Glenn play with Northwestern before he went on to Michigan and went on to the Lakers and became a superstar. So I knew athletics was going to be my way out.
Right.
Because no one was going to pay me to paint. You know what I mean? Like, I was airbrushing t-shirts and doing all this stuff. You get $500 maybe, you know what I'm saying? But with sports, I knew, I said, this is going to be my way out. I had friends that were on Ready for the World. It was either music or sports. I couldn't sing, couldn't do that thing. And I said, well, this is going to be my thing. But the big thing about it is that for me, football was always a means, but it was never the end.
Right.
Which is wild because it took me years to figure out I never really liked football.
Wow.
This is
you
what
just
I
happen to be
say.
good at it. You were good enough at it to get to walk on. Did you earn a scholarship?
Yeah, I earned a scholarship.
Right.
I walked on, earned a scholarship, got drafted in the 11th round.
Right.
To the Los Angeles Rams in 1991,
Mm-hmm.
then got cut later on and then went to the Packers, the Chargers, the Redskins, Eagles, hopped all around because it was my way it was the only way I saw to make some money.
Right.
But the big deal is that, and this is another thing, man, we played at the same time.
We did.
You were you. You became superstar, Pro Bowler, the whole thing. I always thought, well, maybe it wasn't for me. But the real thing is I realized is that because of this deep down belief that I didn't really like football that much. I wasn't really.
You liked it. You didn't.
I wasn't studying it. You see what I mean? Like,
yes.
There was a thing where you had to go to a whole nother level to be at your level.
Yes.
And it was other things I wanted to do. There was just so many other interests. Like I'd be in practice and my mind be going off on what I was going to be doing afterward and what I was going to do before and what and I have to say this because it's funny. My wife, my wife was there the whole time. We've been married 34 years.
Okay. Congrats.
And she said, baby, maybe you wasn't that good. And I said, you're probably right. But the thing is, while you're doing it, you're thinking, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do.
Right.
But I realized when I look back, I didn't study my plays enough. I didn't do the little things because I had my interests. My minds were always in another place.
Had you given football what you given your entertainment career, do you think you would have been better at it?
Absolutely. But it was too little too late.
Right.
Once you start tooling around, also how I came in in the 11th round.
Right.
So
it was 12 rounds back then. It's not it was 12 rounds back then.
People are looking now, they're like, 11 rounds? No, that's way back. Which is basically a glorified free agent. Mm-hmm. But I had some people who believed in me. I was a hustler. And that's another thing too. I couldn't catch, I couldn't throw. My ability was the ability to take tremendous amounts of pain.
Right.
I was a special teamer. I was that guy
wedge
that would just blow up the wedge. They didn't even have a wedge anymore. Okay, but I was the guy they was like, he's giving it up every time, and that would make me stick on a team.
Right.
But then when it came down to play and doing the thing, it was
to being a linebacker and hold a specific position.
I had to be, and this is the thing. It took years for me to realize that and to come to grips with that, because you always like, I know I was good enough, because of your own pride,
right.
But then when you look back and you're like, man, there were people that was just better. They were willing to do more. But then once I got in entertainment, I realized that's the key.
That's what it was meant to be.
That's the secret.
How supportive was your family when you were growing up? Did they know you wanted to be in the entertainment? Because Flint is a very blue collar, hardworking. Normally you go to the factories and that's what you do. You graduate high school, you go to the factories or you go to the military and that's it. So how supportive was your mom and dad, your family members with you like, man, I'm gonna be an entertainer. I'm gonna be in Hollywood. I'm gonna do this. Did they look at you like, man, you out your mind?
Yes. First of all, you got to understand. I feel like I got to go to the biblical story of Joseph.
Okay.
You know, when he told his brothers, yeah, you look, hey, one day y'all all gonna bow down to me. And they was like, oh, really? And they sold it.
Right.
I used to tell people what my dreams were all the time. I was like, I want to be on TV. I want to do movies. I want to make movies. I want to draw. I want to do this. And they were looking at me like I was from another planet. They're like, hey, man, you in Flint.
Right.
What are you talking about? You are so far removed from all that stuff. And it kind of got me in trouble a lot. My mouth got me in trouble, back then and now. But I also realized it was one of the things where, I had big, big dreams. And what was a big, big thing for me is my dad, my father was an alcoholic, but also he was one of those guys that came up from Georgia, a little small town, Edison, Georgia, worked his way up, got a factory, and created a life for us. But at the same time, he was a little jealous. He looked at y'all didn't work as hard as I did. Y'all didn't do the things that I did to get where I'm from.
Right.
Y'all really experienced life. It was one of them things.
Okay.
And so he was always he never liked sports. My father hated sports.
Okay.
He would always want me to go to the Army. My mother was super religious, which at the time, going to church, I wasn't allowed to go to movies. I wasn't allowed to play sports. I wasn't allowed to dance. I wasn't allowed to listen to secular music. Everything I do today, I was not allowed to do when I was a young man. And so I didn't get to play sports till later, like ninth grade, 10th grade, when they I cajoled them and they my mom got out of the religious stuff a little bit, but it was really, really strict, man. And when I would start talking about that stuff, they were like, we can't even go to the movies. But you're talking about being in entertainment.
Right.
It was hard, man. Right. It was real. I felt like a black sheep. I felt like a guy that was always kind of eyes in the clouds. I'm left-handed. Everybody else was right-handed. I'm drawing. Everybody's like outside playing. They're like, hey, man, what is going on?
Do you think because normally the way kids are with parents, the more parents don't want a kid to do something, the more you drive that kid towards that. Yeah. And because they didn't want you to play sports and they didn't want you to, they couldn't see your vision of being an artist and being in Hollywood. Yeah. Did that drive the passion to make you want to get to it even more?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of wild because I even have problems, there's family members and different things. A lot of guys counted me out even back then. And now they're like, oh, okay, you did your thing and whatever. But it's one of them things where you never forget that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I always felt like I had something to prove. Mm-hmm. And that was the part of the reason I got into football. Mm-hmm. But then also once I got in entertainment, I knew there was no way back. Like, you gotta understand, when I moved out I retired from the NFL and moved to LA with my wife, we didn't know anybody. We had to start from scratch. And I had my little severance package from the NFL. Wasn't a lot of money. I didn't make a lot of money. Then. Very little.
It's still very little right now. So don't feel bad. It's not like it's not like it's millions right now. Trust me.
Oh, damn it. I thought these guys getting paid now. No, I guess not. But I was a journeyman. Right. So I had to start from scratch, man. My first job in LA was sweeping floors. Mm-hmm. And there was a point where I thought, and then everybody had counted me out by then. I mean, even there was family members that were like, he had a chance, he blew it.
Right.
That was the consensus. And it was like, well, yeah, I told you this NFL thing.
Did you have people to say, you know what, man, bro, you in the NFL and you gave that up to come do this?
Yep. First of all, they were looking at like, why you keep getting cut? That was the other thing. Yeah. And it was like, obviously it's not working out. And they was just, it's one thing where you got a lot of people, family, friends, or so-called friends, waiting for you to fail.
Right.
And that's a big drive.
Yeah.
For me, it was like, I love when you count me out. It's like one of them things where I got to show everyone. My wife, my wife has always been by my side. And there was one time even when she came to me and she was like, Terry, look, she said, we hurting. She said, we ain't got no money. We starving. We got these 2 kids at the time. She was pregnant with my third. And we have 5 total.
Yeah.
And so she was like, what are we going to do if we struggling like this and it's not working? Then when are we going to go back? Are we going to go back? I said, we are never leaving. I don't care if it happens when we're 99 years old, we are never leaving LA. I promise you this. I said, if we just continue to do this, because this is where I had kind of learned the mistakes I had made in football.
Okay.
And I didn't have another chance on football. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like, man, if I had just studied a little bit more, if I had worked a little bit harder, if I'd have really, really done what I should have been doing. Because that's the thing. You tell yourself you've been doing what you should be doing.
But deep down,
but then you eat the cake.
Yeah.
And you hang out.
Right.
And you do that and you stay up too late. And you don't go to bed. And you totally mess your stuff up. You show up late for the job interview and then be like, they didn't want me. They hated me. It's like, no, you showed up late, bro. And I totally had to be honest with myself, man. Start marking off things that I wasn't doing. And I said, okay, what I'm going to have to do, and this is the way I framed everything, even when I was here in LA. I said, imagine, what if I'm sweeping this floor, man? Now, you understand, I'm almost in tears while I'm sweeping this floor because I'm going, dude, my life may never, ever get back to where I saw. Because once you're in the NFL, you at least see it. You see the money. You see the stuff. You're like, man, I'm there. I can touch it.
You see
and then the
nice cars and the jewelry.
Oh, you see the cars pulling out the lot. You see the jewelry. You see the people living the life and the press. And then all of a sudden, but it's gone. And it's gone.
Right.
And I said, man, look, okay. I said, imagine if someone was going to give me $1 million to sweep this floor. How would you sweep it? And these are the little bitty mindsets and I remember I was like, okay. I have to imagine I'm going to get $1 million if I sweep this floor correct. Because I had to play these kind of games with my head in order to get over the depression.
Right.
And I remember sweeping and sweeping and sweeping, and all of a sudden I forgot about my problems. I forgot about it. In fact, I was doing something about my situation. And I decided to do that about every menial job that I ever had. I was filing papers that fell over in the Veterans Administration, all the papers that fell over in the Northridge earthquake. I'm filing papers. I'm doing this. Then I started doing security for movie sets. But it wasn't like, bodyguard. It was literally, I'm standing outside on the parking lot, watching with a flashlight, watching it. But what I said is, what if someone gave me $1 million to watch this parking lot? I could make sure I had my batteries and my flashlight. I iron my clothes. It was a mindset that I said, I'm going to reverse that bad attitude I had in the league that didn't get me where I wanted. I said, now every job I have to treat like that. And what's so crazy is that I started to do everything like that.
Right.
Like every little, it created a habit in me that kept me going. And so it didn't really matter what people said. I felt like I was getting this imaginary reward.
Right.
If I just did a great job.
Right.
I literally, if I just pleased God, that's all I had to do.
But you mentioned depression.
Yeah.
Because here you are, you had spent 5-6 years in the NFL, and now you're sweeping a floor in a warehouse or a factory and you're filing papers. So how did that mess with you mentally to know that you had a chance and you saw everything, all your dreams could have been solved, even though it wasn't the path that you really wanted to be on, but a lot of your things could have been solved had you just did that.
Yeah. Well, it was one of them things where my wife literally, because the depression is real. When you quit football, it's almost like the military. You're trying to figure out what am I now? How am I going to continue this? Now, and I have to say this too, and So many ball players never figured it out, Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, I'm 55. I can count almost 30 people that are dead from the NFL that I played with.
Right.
There ain't even 30 people in my class in high school that passed away.
Right.
But in the NFL, gone. I mean, people that I played, Junior Seau, just the other day, Frank Wycheck. It blows my mind, man. I mean, people that I played with, I'm sitting there like, wait, Steve Hendrickson's gone. Kevin Green is gone. I was Kevin Green's backup. He's gone. And it says there's something to this. And it's usually after they retire and they go through this mindset of what am I right now? And you may never find it.
Right.
And I thank God that I have my wife to help me come back to life, because she was like, Terry, she said, you are bigger than this. You are more than this. You have to understand that this is, you are past this. Now, again, there were times when I didn't believe her.
Right.
But it was one of those things where I got so depressed, I got out of shape. And I remember my wife came up behind me, and this was a life-changing moment, man. She came up behind me and pinched my back fat. Now, I was always proud of how I looked.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
right.
And I said, what you doing? It's okay. It's cute. And I said, hey, ain't nothing back there. She said, oh, it's back here. I said, what in the what? And I remember saying, okay, if I could change my life if I just go back to the gym. Like, and this is the thing, man, I hadn't worked out in a year. I was depressed. I was tired. I walked in the gym and I told them, I said, I want to work out here. And I ain't never paid to work out nowhere.
Right.
And they're like, yo, that's $25 a month. I said, $25 a month? I said, but no, I'm going to work out here. And they said, yeah, it's $25 a month. I remember going, okay, I put my money down and I went in the gym and I was so depressed. I went in, sat on a machine, read a magazine and went home. I said, but I got to come back. I said, make sure I come back 21 days. And I made a promise to myself, just keep coming back. And dude, that turned into 30-something odd years, man. I'm right here. Like, I never stopped that whole time. But that was what I have to say is these things are what I call incremental. It's not one big giant thing. For me, it was always one little message, one little thing. And when I moved out here, I started trying to get my thing on animation, because I was like, I'm an artist, so I can show you my portfolio. And I had my portfolio in at Disney, at DreamWorks, at Hanna-Barbera, all this stuff. But then at the same time, hand-drawn animation went out the window because Toy Story came out.
Right.
So all of a sudden, they was giving me my portfolio back like, that don't work. And then I got a chance to act. And the rest is history. I did not know that was my destiny. I had no idea. I actually was watching Cube's car on the set of Next Friday. And I was watching with all these guys walking around this movie set as a security guard. Right. And Cube would walk by every day and I'd watch his car. I was like, yes, Mr. Cube, how are you, Mr. Cube? He'd be like, yeah, what's up, man? Walk by like, we just watch the car. And then all the way to being in the next movie, Friday After Next.
Right.
Which gave me my shot, which really blew me up, which, just being close, being it. A lot of times for me, it was just showing up.
Right.
And being open to it, because here it is. I didn't even know this was my destiny.
Right.
You know what I mean? I never told anybody that I wanted to act.
Right.
I was trying to be a filmmaker and do all this stuff, but it's unbelievable, man. And when I see that, I got a star on the Walk of Fame, and this stuff is still, I'm the most grateful man in this town, man, 100%.
When you tell your kids, and one day you're going to be able to tell your grandkids, I don't know how old they are, or even like, bro, I was in the league. I played against Barry, played with Jackie Slater, played with Kevin Green. I played with some of the all-time great players. When you look back, are you in awe? Because I remember when I first got into the league and I saw all the players that I had watched on television, from Jerry Rice to Joe Montana to Lawrence Taylor and all these guys. I'm like, wow. One day, even if I don't have a long career, I can say, well, man, I was on the field with this guy, I was on the field with that guy. Yeah. Do you ever look back and think about the journey that you went on through the NFL?
All the time, every day. First of all, this is the thing. People always measure success by, oh man, this was the first round pick. He's the big height. He's the guy. And then, you know what? They measure success from people who are good to great.
Right.
But to me, the true measure of success has always been how long your journey was.
Right.
Meaning it was horrible to great.
Right.
You know what I mean? Listen, when I look at what Flint, Michigan is right now, and I look at where I came from, and I look at the friends, the people I came with, and how they ended up, and how so many people fell to the side. I just go, man, and I'm still here. Not only am I still here, I'm thriving. I have to look at the whole journey. I got to look at how far I came, as opposed to, oh man, yeah, I'm good. I'm here now, and I want this and that. But I realized, man, I am one in a million.
Right.
And this is where the gratitude comes from.
When during the season, and because it's tough, you mentioned the teams that you played for, the Rams, you played for the Packers, you played for the Washington, to get cut during the season, and you got to tell your wife, baby, I got released today, and what was she saying to you? Baby, we might need to get this up.
Can I tell you a story? This is crazy.
Sure.
Here I am, 1995. I'm on the Washington Redskins. There was a time when, they had the depth chart sitting up there and the whole thing, and it was right after camp. And they said, congratulations, you made the team. And, it's Monday of the week where you're about to get ready for the first game. And I'm going, oh my God, this is it. I tell my wife, we celebrate. We went through the cut down days and the whole weekend. It's Monday. We go to practice. I practice all day. My wife, while I'm in practice, she checking my kids into school because we had to wait until I found out if I made the team.
Right.
Right? And this was not 95, it was 96. And here I am, North Turner's the coach, and I'm like, I'm so happy we made it. I go to practice. I go home. I'm tired. I come home. And they say, hey, man, come back up to Redskin Park and bring your playbook. Wait, I had signed my kids in the school. I said, wait, but I went through the whole cut down.
Right.
Bruh. I said, wait a minute, y'all joking. Somebody playing with me. Monday, I'm preparing for the week.
Right.
Brought my playbook up there. They said, we're going to let you go, man. On that Tuesday, which is the NFL day off, they brought another linebacker from another team. And I was sitting out there the whole time. And I was gone. That level of pain, and my wife is looking, and she's like, but I thought we made it, babe. Dude, I get choked up thinking about it right now, man. My kids are like, so I can't go to this school? I'm like, we're going to work something out. Dude, I sat the whole year. Didn't get picked up. Tried to find ways to make it work. Nothing. Dude, you talking about a level of and then I was stuck in the city where I got cut from, because you can't just hop up and leave. I'm there with my family. I'm moving with my parents.
Right.
And so I'm watching the friends are like, hey man, yeah, I'm calling, hey guys, what y'all doing? And they're like, we got a game. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I can't hang with them no more. So I'm lonely, man. And it's just me and my wife sitting in the town waiting for what's next. Bruh, that's something that is never really talked about. That so many players, because the sacrifice is you've been there for a whole year. Remember, you don't get your money till the game.
Right.
So I spent 6 months on $200 a week to work out. And just knowing, just giving, you risk everything so you can make it, and so you can at least get that game check.
Right.
And I didn't get that.
Was Washington your last stop?
Philadelphia Eagles was my last stop, because I went the whole season and got picked up right before Christmas for the playoffs for the Eagles. So I got to play with that one last, and we played the 49ers and got in a wild card game and got sent out. And that was it for me. That was it. I mean, I played that one game, got me a little money, got that one game check at the end of the season. Right. And then
a little playoff money.
And that was it.
Was that the final straw? Was that when you knew, man, this over for me? I'm done.
But wait.
The stress on your family, you is one thing, but you got wife and kids, T.
But wait, I put her through it one more time, because I got to try out with the 49ers. And I said, but you chase it.
Right.
You
Yes,
chase it.
yes.
Hey, man, it's like a drug.
It is. It absolutely
It really is, man. It's one of them things where you're like, I'm this close. If I just, and man, I went and got a trial with the 49ers, and I remember this coach threw the ball at me. And for some reason, he was about me to you, man. He went, woo! I stuck my hand up, boom, and my finger was pointing downward. And I was like, yo! And I knew it was dislocated. I popped it back in. It was swelled up like a sausage. And I fumbled around that tryout, man. That's when I knew it was over. Like, when I'm running around there and I'm going, what am I doing? What am I doing? This is it. I don't have it no more. Like, I don't know if I can summon the strength to go through this again, you know? And that was it. And then my wife, because now, I gotta go all the way back to college when I was dating my wife. I told her, we were sitting at a Wendy's parking lot. We were sitting in the Wendy's. They had little places in the front where we sit there. And I said, look, first I'm gonna play in the NFL. Then we're gonna move to Hollywood. We're gonna make movies. I made that promise. You see, because I always talk.
Right.
And that's what got on everybody's nerve. Right. Okay, they was like, he talking again.
Yeah.
But I told her, I said, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play in the NFL. Then we're gonna move to Hollywood and make movies. She was like, okay. When I came home from that audition, from that tryout, she looked at me and she said, remember when you said we're gonna move to Hollywood and make movies? You ready?
Wow.
Yes. You see that right there? When I talk about somebody who's down with you, she said, remember when you said that? Let's go, man. And I said, you serious? You serious? She said, let's go.
Right.
We was in a little town home that we had rented from another player, no furniture in it, just trying to see what's next. We loaded everything in our truck. I had an old Nissan Pathfinder at the time. We loaded everything, put our 2 girls in the back, and drove straight out to California. Didn't know anybody. Whew!
Wow.
Man, I'm telling you, that's power.
What was it that she knew you so well? She had been with you for so long. She saw you come home, not to make it, baby. I don't think I made it, and to know it's over.
Yep.
It's time to transition into that second part. You know how you said, I'm going to go play in the NFL and then we're going to go make movies?
Yep.
Well, that first part is over.
Yep.
Let's close the door. Let's open this door.
She was so gentle with it. Like, because again, with me, going, like I said, we lived out of suitcases, man, being packing and moving and then. And she was like, honey, are you doing everything you're supposed to do? Right. I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to do. But
did she ever tell you, Terry, I don't think you're putting your heart into it. I don't think you're putting everything.
She was gentle with it. She's like, well, shouldn't you be doing, I noticed you're not doing this kind of thing. She would always kind of be real with me. And I was like, no, I'm doing enough. But again, as male arrogance and the whole thing, and I'm the man in the family. Right. I know what I'm doing. She knew. She was watching. But finally, she saw how broke I was after that 49er tryout. She was like, babe, you dream.
You was mentally defeated. Huh?
I was done, dude. Like, when I say done, I think she just saw it in my face. Like, everything in it was like, and this is the thing where most players hit. No matter how high it got.
Right.
When it's time to go, very few get some kind of parade. You know what I mean? You get kind of kicked out. You kind of like, all of a sudden you just disappear.
The getting in is easy. It's the getting out that's hard.
It's hard, man.
Especially when you don't leave on your terms.
Oh, and how many ever get to do that?
No.
Tom Brady might, but Barry Sanders did.
Yeah.
That's where everybody looked at him like, what? This man just decided it on his own?
Right.
But usually it's injury. Usually it's cut. Usually they want one more shot and they're not getting it.
Right.
Man, that's some pain, man.
So if the NFL asks you, say, well, Terry, I mean, you played in the league. What's some of the advice? And we got guys and we need you to talk to some of these rookies that's coming in about transitioning from the game once it's over. Yeah. What advice would you give some of the younger players, knowing that there's going to come a time? And I know you think because you're 21 and 22, you're going to play 50 years, but you're not. What is some of the advice you would give them about transitioning into a post-career?
The biggest thing is humility. Humility. It's really, really hard. And this is one thing sweeping floors humbled me. Like there's a breaking that you have to go through. Because there was a long time I wouldn't do that.
Right.
And I was like, hey man, I'm too proud for this. And what would everybody think if they see me sweeping the floor?
Right.
And my wife was like, they don't know you. Nobody knows you. You wasn't that popular, you know? But in my head,
right.
I'm this. Right. Everybody knows me as this. And man, let me tell you something, Shannon. Now I've been doing Hollywood for 20-something odd years. And what blew me away is perspective. And this is what I want to tell any young person coming up. Perspective. First of all, I've been to Korea. Korea don't care nothing about the NFL. They don't know anything about it.
Right.
I was looking for scores, couldn't find them. I went to South Africa, looking for the NFL scores. They're like, what are you talking about? It's rugby over here, bro. I said, okay. I've been to Hong Kong. Don't care about no NFL. Then I'll go to Europe. And I'm going, okay, well, how about it? What do y'all think about it here? They're like, it's okay. That's interesting. Then I realized, wait a minute. In my head, it's this gigantic beast. And it is in America.
Right.
But I said, the rest of the world, when I went to South America, they don't care. I went to Brazil, they don't care about the NFL. And I said, dude, you gotta understand, it's a big, big world. And there's so much out there that's for you. And you have to find it. You have to find it. And this is what I would tell every young man, is that there's something bigger than the league for you.
Right.
You have to find it though. But that's a hard belief. It's like when everything, and you spent your whole life 24/7 being this thing, and you have to flip it, and all of a sudden it means nothing anymore. That's where the humility comes in.
Yeah, because I think so many people find the NFL is who they are.
Yep.
And because it's who they are and not what they did,
yes,
it's hard to separate because you think, no, you're not.
This is why, again, man, this is why I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of Mike Strahan. I'm proud of players that have come out and have literally realized, wait a minute, I'm bigger than this. Wait, man, you bigger than the game. That's what I have to tell this to every NFL player. You are bigger than the game. The game needs you, not the other way around. But you have this belief because your mind gets played with a lot.
Right.
It's the manipulation is real. You know, that's one of the things that makes you get in the NFL. Most of these players been manipulated since college. You know what I'm saying? So you trained in that.
Right.
And so when you wake up and realize, wait, it's a whole nother world out here, but a lot of cats don't believe it.
Right.
And this is where I've seen cats commit suicide by overeating, or suicide by putting a gun on themselves. Right. Or suicide by drinking, suicide by whatever. I mean, they have the hardest times because they think the whole world is thinking of them as this. And if you just switch it and turn it around, it's a new future.
I think it was a lot easier than what you gave yourself credit for because football wasn't what it is. You liked it, you didn't love it.
Right.
When you get other people that they love it,
yeah,
and everything that they are, their entire fiber is NFL football or being an NFL player.
Yep.
And when that doesn't work out, they don't see the world. That's their world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything that comes along with it.
You're right. I mean, that is the problem. The biggest advantage I had was not being a superstar. That was my advantage.
Right.
I don't know if I'd be here if I had been a superstar.
Right.
If I had seen the level that Junior Seau had seen.
Right.
I don't know, man. I really don't. I could honestly say that would have been such a hard fall that I don't know if I would have been able to survive it.
Get in on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. New customers who deposit $5 or more can get no sweat bet up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Shannon. New customers can get a no sweat bet up to $1,000 if your first bet loses. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code Shannon. The crown is yours.
You mentioned that you told your wife, like, you didn't want to do some of these jobs because what if somebody sees me? And I hear that a lot. And you hear people like, man, I ain't working on McDonald's such and such. They might see me. Or I don't sweep in there. It feels like it's beneath them.
Yep.
When sometimes, hey, they need all walks to do something before you got to another level, which you said, okay, I got to sweep this floor, but I'm not going to sweep this floor forever. It's just a means to an end.
Right.
Get me in the door and I'm going to do something else. So you're on the set of Friday as a security guard.
That's right.
You had mentioned that you had never, ever really told anybody that you wanted to do acting.
Yep.
You wanted to be behind the camera,
Yep.
not in front of the camera.
Yep.
And so when did your big break come? When did you get an opportunity?
You know what was amazing? I had friends in the business because doing security, I knew a lot of location managers.
Right.
And the location managers would hire the security. And this location manager became a friend of mine. He said, hey man, Denzel's shooting down here in the jungle. It's a movie called Training Day. You want to come down and take a look? I was like, I get to watch Denzel do his thing? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm coming. I'm walking. I said, when is it? He said, man, come on. They shooting all night. So he said, you got to come late, like 10 o'clock. About 11 o'clock, they'll start the filming and the whole thing. And so I'm down there in the jungle, man, and I'm sitting there going, ooh, and I'm watching this Denzel, the car, that cul-de-sac, the whole deal. And I'm going, ooh, this is hot. And I'm watching Denzel get ready. He got the chains on. He got the do-rag, the whole thing.
Is that the King Kong scene?
This is the King Kong scene. Bruh. Now, let me tell you this. And you gotta understand how magical this was, man. Antoine Fuqua, the director, saw me standing there. And again, by this time, remember, I went back to the gym.
Right.
Because I had been going back to the gym about a year or so, I was kind of still in shape.
Right.
He said, hey man, you want to be in this scene? I said, yeah. He said, hey man, just take your shirt off. See your tank top. Said, I'll put you in the scene. Bruh, I'm like, never acted. You talking about no acting.
Right.
I stand there, I'm looking, I'm like, okay. And I just got that NFL man, like you know, you about to come in and you facing off against somebody, right. and I said, just don't say nothing and just mad dog it. I said, oh, don't tell me. And that was it. And so Denzel's doing all this, and you see, I'm just standing there the whole time like this nigga. And dude, it changed my life. When you say like, that went to the Oscars, bro. Like, it was me and Denzel when they showed that scene on the Oscars. My mother was like, you in the Oscars? I said, well, I'm not at the Oscars, but I'm in this scene. Right. And I was like, I was hooked. Like, when I say hooked, because all I had to do was because remember, man, I'm on the NFL field and my mind is already going all right. I was like, this is what I always want to do. I said, man, now I'm in my element. Don't mess this up, right? Bruh. Watching this, then I got a chance to look at his script. And his script was on the card. And he had written, the wages of sin is death, on the top of his script. I was like, he's stunning. And I watched how he prepared, and I was like, that's that level I have to get to. That's what and all of a sudden, there it was, the acting thing. And what happened was, Cube remembered me. He was like, yo, man, you the security guard. Because everybody loved Training Day. When Training Day came out, he said, man, we doing another Friday. I got a call from the location manager. They said, hey, man, Cube, people want to see you. I went in. It was me, Katt Williams, sitting next to each other in a little bitty room. And he was like, man, come on in. We got to do this. Because Tiny Lister didn't want to do, my good friend. Yeah. God bless his soul. Yep. Tiny Lister didn't want to do the third one. And they said, we got a new character, a guy named Damon and the whole thing. I was like, and see, you got to understand, too, I had nothing to lose. Right. Like, when I say nothing to lose, I came in there like Craig and Day-Day. Just the niggas I want to see, you know. Hey, bro, I had nothing. I went back to Flint on them. I was like, oh, this is where I came. These are the cats I knew. Right. And I came in there, man, and offset Cube, everybody, they're like, ah! They're like, oh! And then Katt came in, and just the audition. And they said, you in. You in. And Friday after next. Listen, I saw Cube probably about a month ago. And I walked up to him, man. I said, dude, thank you. Thank you. I said, you have no idea how many careers you started just by giving us that shot. Right. A lot of people never, ever really give props what props is due. Mm-hmm. You know, because they're like, well, I didn't get that much money. But dude, that was my start. Yep. Well, listen, I was in a little bitty cubicle. Man, I was just thankful. I was walking around. And listen, and what was so crazy is me and Katt was homeless at the time.
Wow.
So Katt was living in his trailer. And me and Katt said, hey man, and I remember talking to Katt, I said, Katt, I said, we never get another opportunity. We got to make sure they remember us. I said, because we the two new cats in this whole thing. They know everybody else.
Right.
I said, but it's me and you. And remember, man, I was not going to let what happened in my football career happen to my entertainment career.
Man, I'm listening to you tell the story, T. And the way you telling the story, football never gave you the high that what you got by just doing that.
Exactly. I knew I was in my destiny. When I say, and this is what I'm saying, I found my destiny. I was gone. When people see that scene in Friday After Next, look, you turn the sound down, it ain't a comedy.
Right.
We was crying.
Right.
We were deep. They was so in it. He was crying, I was crying. People were sitting by the monitors like, what are we looking at right now? Because I was so gone in it, and I said, this is what, and then it was so wild because I didn't even want money anymore. I said, I want that feeling again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's too, because you could talk about athletes and money and all that stuff, but there's a point when I'm sure when you just catching and doing everything right, you want to chase that again. They call it the zone. They call it what it's just flow, whatever that is. And let me tell you, you know when I hit that flow again? When I was doing White Chicks. That movie, White Chicks. Everything I said just flowed.
Friday Up Next, White Chicks came off of.
Well, it came after that,
right?
Because again, you're talking about the Black Hollywood is very small,
mm-hmm.
and once Friday After Next hit, people were like, "This dude," and so what was so great is Keenan Ivory Wayans was like, "Hey man, we got to get this dude a shot."
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
right.
They're like, man, we want some of that on us. And
right.
it kept, on all my business, Shannon, in this town has been repeat business. I mean, the reason I was with all these Sandler movies, mm-hmm. Adam Sandler called me. But the thing is, when I did Longest Yard, which was my revenge on the NFL,
right?
Me and Michael Irvin,
right.
the whole movie, I was like, this is the one everybody gonna remember. Like, good God, like, who gets that?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I remember Chris Rock was like, hey man, he's on the movie, Longest Yard. He said, dude, you killing, I got something for you. I said, what is it? He said, don't worry about it, I got something for you. I go home, the script for Everybody Hates Chris is literally on my doorstep. I open that up, he's like, I want you to play my dad. Because he saw me and my wife and my two kids out there in Santa Fe, New Mexico, when we was filming Longest Yard. He was watching. And that's the thing another people, you gotta remember, everybody is watching. Everybody is watching. And so then I played Chris's dad, and Everybody Hates Chris for 4 years straight. This man, when I look at my life, man, I just thank God for every opportunity. And now this is another thing, because I'm now reached the point, because I play with all these guys and they're gone. Now I'm losing actors. Man, Andre Bauer passed away
mm-hmm.
last week. And he took me under his wing, man. You talk about one of the best actors
right.
of our generation.
Right.
I mean, Juilliard trained, absolutely incredible, Emmy Award winning, dramatic beast.
Right. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Correct.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, who was able to come and flip it to a comedy like that. And I was like, man, what is the secret? And this is another thing, he was like a super all-pro who could have looked down on all of us, but decided he was just gonna pull us all up with him. 61 years old. He was like my big brother.
Right.
I look at guys that are dying. When I look at Michael Clark Duncan's gone. Mm-hmm. Tiny Lister, gone. Lance Reddick, gone. And I'm like, Chadwick Boseman, gone. We did a movie Draft Day together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I'm going, man, you don't have forever. You don't. You gotta go for it. You got to get what you are come to get now. And you can't waste time. You can't treat it like, well, I'll whatever.
Do it tomorrow.
Because I've seen it in the NFL. And everybody thought, and this is the thing, everybody had determined certain people that already won. Like, I won life, he won. You know, people say, hey, won the internet, whatever. It ain't never over it. It's never how you start. It's how you finish.
Right.
And let me tell you, when I'm done, and I'll be honest with you, man, I'm just getting started. I truly, truly feel I have the same energy that I had when I first started. I'm really thankful to be sitting here with you right now. But I admire you for just your transition. You know what I mean? And the energy that you bring. Your passion is palpable. And I'm the same way. I'm 100% passion.
Right.
That's all I am.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know no other way. I have no other way. I do everything like I'm getting $1 million.
When you sat down for the audition to read with Katt, did you know Katt prior to that?
Nope, not at all.
And you guys became pretty cool after
We
that.
became amazing friends. And what's so crazy, I used to watch him because we, remember a movie, when you shoot a movie, then you got to wait 1.5 years for it to come out.
Correct.
So you just wait, like people, you like, man, well, I got this thing coming. They're like, yeah, right, whatever.
Right.
and you know what's so funny? After Friday After Next, I had to go back doing security. I had to go back.
Right.
Because I didn't have nothing else to turn to.
Right.
But I knew it was coming.
Right.
And what was so crazy, I would do commercials and different things, but I would go watch Katt Williams at the Hollywood Park Casino. He had his own room.
Mm-hmm.
And this man was the funniest man I ever seen, which was crazy. And then I'll never forget when he started selling out the Universal Amphitheater and watching them blow up. This is another thing too, to watch people all, it's funny because I see kids that's been on set and now they're superstars now. You know, like Tyler James Williams is now a superstar.
Right.
You know, I've watched people, this is the thing, you would never know what's going to happen. You know, you look at things and you go, oh my God, this man was, listen, one great example. We were at the BET Awards and I saw this little kid walking around with a little hat on. And I was like, hey, I got his mixtape. I said, Kendrick. He's like, you know who I am? It's Kendrick Lamar, bruh. I said, man, your mixtape, dude, Section 80 is amazing. I said, you are the next. I said, Rebecca, this is Kendrick. He was like, you know who I am? I said, who? I said, I love you. I said, I think you are going to be the future. And what's so crazy is that he called me a few years later, ended up doing a video with him.
Right.
Because he said, remember when you told me you knew who I was? And remember this? You told me I was going to be doing something great. Look at this, man. Now, look, tell me he's not the best in the world right now. Yeah. And I'm so proud. And the thing is, too, man, there's another thing I had to learn and that the NFL taught me that I had to unlearn, competing. I decided to never compete with people. This was my problem. Because they call it the sin of comparison.
Right.
When I'm looking at what you got and comparing what I got, it's always going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Always.
Right.
Because you always going to come up short.
Yeah. Yes.
Somebody always got more.
Right.
And then somebody always got less, but you always want more.
Right.
And I realized, man, that creativity was the exact opposite of competition.
Right.
If I'm being creative, I'm not competing. So I decided, you know what? Because everybody was like, hey, man, you got to, you got to be like Tiny, you got to be this, you got to blah, blah, blah. I was like, no. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be me. And they was like, yeah, but you kind of weird. I said, yeah, I am.
That's what made me unique.
I am. All right. Listen, first of all, you can't even, it got to the point where we read scripts now that we want a Terry Crews type. Because they know that's just me.
Right.
And I decided by just being creative, that was my ticket out of that world of competition. Because this is the thing, man. The league is always,
it's got to be competition.
It's like, hey man, you versus so-and-so.
Right.
You wait, first of all, you got to fight the people in your own locker room first.
Yeah.
Before you even go up against another team. You know what I mean? And then you always being judged like, well, you missed a step and, did you miss that? But he didn't.
Right.
The coaches they will always tell you what you messed up on.
Right.
And then being black, we would go into the locker room and if you hurt, they act like, you act like you don't want to play. I'll say, hey man, first of all, the white kids get hurt and they're like, yeah, he's hurt.
Right.
But they never ever treated any black guy I knew in the locker room like he was really hurt. Wow. Like he was trying to cut out on the game.
So in other words, you said I gotta unlearn because you know it's a jungle mentality because someone is literally trying to take food off your table. Someone is trying to take a roof from over your kid and your family head to make sure they have one. But once you got into the entertainment space, you're like, I'm not competing against him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what can I do?
I'm in my lane.
First of all, I didn't go to school to act.
Right.
I didn't go to Juilliard.
Right.
You talking to a dude who ain't supposed to be here.
Right.
Everything I'm getting I ain't supposed to have.
Right.
So I'm already behind.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then I realized, wait a minute, if I just bring what I bring, I'm ahead. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I bring what only I bring to a project, because you can't do what I do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is the one thing that the magic, and this is what I want to tell every young man is trying to transition out. That's the way it works for everything. That you have something that no one else has, but it's up to you to find it.
Right.
You got to find it. And you don't find it by comparing yourself with everybody else or whatever. You find it by finding out what you want to do. And this is when I had to make the hard realization that, man, maybe football it wasn't for me, but it got me to where I am.
Right.
And I'm very thankful for it. But let me tell you, I love the game. In fact, I don't even have a team. I just love the players.
Right.
It's just, sitting here with players, talking about, what we came through. It feels like a fraternity, man.
Right.
It feels like something we can therapize each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we all know it. We all seen it.
Right.
And we all played those games together. I mean, I was there when they was like, ain't no CTE. Sit down. You just weak.
Right.
I was like, man, my head hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm seeing double.
Right.
And they're like, man, look, you just weak. I was there when they was telling everybody it wasn't real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, this is real, man. This is real.
See, obviously, when you're first starting out, you don't make a lot of money. How do you get past? Because everybody thinks that you in the movie, you make $1 million or you make $5 million, and the roles. I mean, you're first starting out. It ain't no big payday.
Not at all. Not at all. You get, here's your $500. Thank you very much.
Right.
But that's the thing. I never did it for the money. Remember I told you when we was doing that Friday After Next,
Right.
I was chasing that feeling of doing something, of going so deep and doing something so well. It was like when I was sweeping those floors. You know what I mean? You once you start that, you chase it, and you realize I could be excellent at this. Right. And I chase excellence, and what I found is that the money will come.
Right.
That's what's so crazy. But what problem is when you chase money,
right?
If all of a sudden, because this is the thing, and this is what blew me away. I started to take jobs off my passion and what I saw would further what I was trying to do. And I wouldn't take jobs by the money. And I turned down a lot of money-making jobs that was terrible. But there was a lot of things that paid a little bit amount of money, but man, took me to a whole nother level. And by doing that, by not chasing the money, man, it's like, it comes, man. The passion will pay for itself.
Now, White Chick. Look, Damien was in Next Friday, the Friday After Next was unbelievable. But it was that movie where Terry Crews all of a sudden becomes a household name.
Dude. Keenan Ivory Wayans, Marlon Wayans, Sean Wayans. I owe them a debt forever. That was one of the best experiences I ever had in my life. When I say from beginning to end, hanging with them dudes, the freedom that family had, it was like being in the Jacksons, bro. You know what I mean? Like, because listen, I watched In Living Color. When I remember in college, all the way up in Living Color, and holding Keenan Ivory Wayans is a legend.
Yep.
And I'm there, he's like, hey, Terry, hey, man, do whatever you want, man. You killing this, do this. I was like, what? I could do whatever I want, like everything. I said, so I could just, and man, when you hit that level of freedom, and the Wayans brothers, this is the thing about comedy, is that it opens up. Like, there was, the phrase they say a lot of times is that, the answer is never no. The answer is yes in comedy. Mm-hmm. So if you got a question, the answer is yes. I mean, you just keep taking it. And that's what we did. And bruh, I had no idea. By the time we got done, and I remember that premiere, and the producer looked at me, he said, hey man, your life will never, ever be the same. You gotta understand, like I said, I learned my lessons from football. I remember being in that room, singing that song probably 10,000 times by myself, so that when I got on the set, that was one take. I was so ready. I had the head moves in, I had everything. And people were like, we never seen that. Because you gotta understand too, and the rules in comedy at the time were muscles never funny.
Right.
That's not funny. You gotta be brute, you gotta be, and everybody was trying to tell me to take karate lessons because you had to be, be an action star. I was like, no, I wanna be funny. I think I can make people laugh. And they were like, but muscle's not funny. You too big. You got to get fat. You got to get chubby. I was like, nope. I'm going to do everything I'm doing. And I remember resisting what everybody was saying. And people were looking at me like, I've never seen a funny big dude before. You know what I mean? And it changed the game.
Did you know when you're shooting that movie and when you rap, did you realize that we got a classic, we got a hit, we have something that's going to stand the test of time?
No, it's fart jokes. No. I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, if the kids laugh, I'm like, hey, great.
Right.
No. But now, people are coming back like, that's class. Man, listen, my daughter, okay, she was a baby. My daughter is now 20 years old, in college. She goes to college in San Diego. They sat over this summer, sitting there watching White Chicks. She didn't say anything. She's like, that's my dad. Like, she was a baby when it came out.
Yeah.
She's in college, and all her friends are sitting on the rooftop watching White Chicks. The whole school cracking up. I'm like, we didn't know.
Right.
We didn't know, but that's the power of going all out, because it outlasts you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
The legacy outlasts you. Go all out. You do not get another shot. You see what I mean? Like, really, really enjoy. Don't, because this is the thing too, man. I used to be a complainer, man. I used to be one of them cats, oh, well, if it ain't perfect, and man, that's the thing. When I start to realize, man, what opportunities we have, we gotta take it.
Right.
And I'm just so thankful right now. I'm just like, and just to go on to have this kind of career. Now, I got to even flip it to AGT, because I told my agent and manager, I said, look, use me as a guinea pig. I said, where you would typically see me, don't give me those roles. Give me the roles that you would say, there's no way they were going to hire him. And I said, that's what I want. And they were like, Terry, that's a hard road. I said, yep, I'm going to take the hard road. And I'll never forget, there was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which was a daytime version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And Cedric the Entertainer didn't want to come back. He was like moving on. And they said, Terry, they're talking, this is open. I said, give it to me. I said, let me go in, let me audition, let me take it. Because I knew if I learned how to host,
right,
if I learned how to get in front of that camera and show my personality and talk to people and interview people, that could be a change. That's a whole nother revenue stream.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole nother level of passion, right? So, but it was horrible. Listen, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the daytime version, nobody watching it, okay? I did 360 episodes of that while I was doing Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and people were like, why are you doing this? I would go back on set, they were like, dude, it's no one watching this. It's crazy. Then I did another show called World's Funniest Fails, and it was like terrible, and nobody was watching it. And I was like, oh, it was on Fox, it was one of them silly shows. And then I hosted TV Land Awards. I was like, but I want to be a host. Dude, all of a sudden, they got the spinoff for AGT, and I get my shot. I said, and now it's the biggest talent show in the world, right, bruh. And I've been doing it strong, going on 6 years, all the iterations. We got a brand new fantasy league coming out. We got the regular AGT's #1 show of the summer. And wait, and you gotta understand, I ain't a host. I'm not that guy. I came in this thing, but I said, God, give me the strength to learn new skills and let me stay open. And I will stay humble and I will learn this thing. You know what I'm saying? And it was a lot, man. But I say, thank God right now, because now I can go 2 or 3 ways.
Right. I'm looking at you, a white chick, and some of the lines. Did you just come up with these lines, or were they written? It's like, once you go black, you're gonna need a wheelchair.
That was written.
So how much leeway did they give you?
Oh no, it was a lot. I mean, this is the thing.
Like the dancing, they probably let you do your own.
Oh yeah, that was all me. That was all the dancing. But you gotta understand, a lot of this stuff was like the stuff between me and Marlon. It was like, ooh, little lady, you sure can't put it away. I mean, that's me.
Right.
This stuff but they let you do it.
Right.
And then the editor comes in. They'll worry about the rest later. But dude, we were coming up with stuff off the head. They were coming up with stuff. They had no idea. And we had no idea, but we just knew. We said, man, we had such a blast doing that movie. Same thing with Longest Yard. You had the wrestlers, you had the comedians, you had the football players. I mean, you had all that together, and you had a classic movie, where I grew up watching the Burt Reynolds version, the first one. And you're like, man, this is one reason why I even tried playing football in the first place. You're like, and dude, that's what, to me, all I can say is that I've been given more opportunities. I must rephrase that. I seized more opportunities. Mm-hmm. Because this is the thing, people give you charity. Opportunities aren't really given.
Right.
You seize them.
Right.
You grab it. It's like hunting. It's like sitting in the forest and living there watching, and all of a sudden you see something that you want, and you see it, and if you go up to it, it'll run away. But you got to grab it. And I remember just grabbing every little scene, every little thing. I'll never forget getting the opportunity on Expendables. Here I am, man. Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis, me. And wait, I wasn't the first pick. It was supposed to be Wesley Snipes. But Wesley had got down on all that tax stuff, and then they went to Forrest Whitaker, and he couldn't do it. And then they said, oh, well, we got this guy, Terry Crews. I was like, I'm here. Yo.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Hey, man, I didn't look at that as down. Most of my stuff has been like, man, somebody dropped out, I'm taking it, seizing it. And dude, here I am in the Expendables movie, and Sly give me that tunnel scene. I'm blowing people away, boom, 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 coming through that tunnel, and people flipping them up. They in the theater jumping up. And I'm going, who gets this? Who gets this? Like, to make people laugh, to make people jump, I've been given more moments than probably any other actor that I know I work with. This cat's been on TV 20 years, don't get those kind of moments. You know what I mean? Yes. And that's where I'm like, man, and this is where, again though, had I not been through all that stuff in the NFL, I wouldn't have learned what it took. You understand what I'm saying? I wouldn't. I probably would have got complacent. Probably would have been like, yeah, it's automatic. And I've seen people get there like, yeah, I should have had that yesterday. But I never feel that way, man. I'm always, especially now that we're losing people, especially now.
Being on the set of White Chicks, you get an opportunity, you mentioned earlier, to work around Keenan Ivory Wayans, and you saw what he did with In Living Color. Did you really get an opportunity to see his comedic genius? Because you look at In Living Color, I don't know if we're ever going to see anything like that again.
Never.
And it gave birth to so many great, the Jamie Foxx, the David Allen Greers, the Tommy Davidson, the Jim Carreys, the Wayans brothers. I mean, there's so many people that launched their careers and became what they became.
Jennifer Lopez.
J-Lo became what she became from that. Did you get a sense like, man, this dude is a genius?
Yes, but this is the thing you got to understand. The same thing about the NFL. When I walked in the locker room in the NFL, they don't want you going, oh, you so-and-so. You got to hit him. No, you know what I mean? Like, in the league, you realize, wait a minute, man, if I don't hit you, listen, you on the offensive side of the ball. If I was opposite of you, you don't want me going, oh man, you Shannon Sharp.
Right.
You run me over.
Right.
You want a challenge.
Right.
You want, pow, I'm coming at you, boom, boom, boom. And that's exactly what these actors want. That's exactly what these comedians want. They don't want you to come in there, oh, look. Man, Sly Stallone's looking like, I want you to bring that heat when you come. We look at me like I did Denzel. And Training Day They don't want me to be like, oh, wow, you Denzel. They want me looking at him like I'll kill him if he step out of line.
Right.
Because that's where everything is. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants you to lob. You know what I mean? They want you to throw it for real. And that's exactly what the way Keenan and the whole, they were playing for keeps. And this is another thing. It's one reason why you can't do White Chicks too, because the comedy is dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
It's dangerous.
We're a different time now. We're definitely a different time now. But how have you been able to steal scenes? You've been in Malibu's Most Wanted. You've been in Deliverance from Eva. You've been in Soul Plane. How? Because it's not like it's written that you're the star of the movie, but you always find a way to steal a scene. And man, you remember when T. Cruz was singing? You remember when he's out there on the floor and he drunk that drink and he out there dancing? You're always able to steal a scene, even though the movie isn't written around you.
Passion. I serve the actors. I serve the script. I serve the audience. And it's never about me. And anytime you see a movie and you're bored, it's about that dude on the screen. I've watched stuff and you're like, oh, man, this dude, Katt's mailing in. It's how good am I going to look now? I'm turning to the left and I'm turning to the right. It's like, oh man, whatever. But when I'm serving, because this is the key, that's what I had to tell my son, even about money. I said, you want to make money? The key to making money is serving the most amount of people. The more people you serve, the more money you make. Straight up. I said, look, people always say, athletes make so much money. Doctors should make more money than athletes. But I'm like, wait, how many patients you got? How many patients you got? The doctor got 30 patients. Well, you got 30 patient money. But how many people are enjoying watching LeBron play?
True.
Hundreds of millions. So he gets hundreds of millions of dollars. I said, dude, don't ever get it twisted. You serve more people, you get more props, you get more money. And I decided I was going to serve more people in everything I did. I remember doing Malibu's Most Wanted. And I remember being on the set and I said, I'm gonna play this character. His name is 8 Ball, but I'm gonna play him like he's real. And I started doing stuff and the director was like, hey, put the camera on that dude right there. And this is the thing, and this is really tricky, and I gotta let everybody know this. It can get you in trouble because people go, he's showing out. Why you trying to make us look bad? You know how many times I heard that? People always was like, oh, Mr. Overdo it. Oh, you gonna sweep the whole place? Wow. Okay, Mr. And that's what you gotta resist. That's what you gotta resist. I found out a long time ago, like, whatever God says about you, and if you repeat it, it sounds very narcissistic. But whatever Satan says about you, and you repeat it, it sounds very realistic. And you have to decide, whoa, am I gonna be real? Or am I gonna do what God said? Like, do everything I can. And that's a tricky thing, because you get tricked into it. You get you showing out, yeah. But I realized, no, the best thing I can do for the whole world is to make the most of Terry Crews. Best thing I can do for everybody is work out 2 hours a day. That's it. Because all I do is work on me. Best thing I can do for everybody on that set, study my lines. Know what I'm doing. Be prepared. Be ready. Always, always focused. Best thing. And all of a sudden, nobody got to worry about you. Nobody worry about you. That's the thing. And back in the NFL, they had to worry about me a little bit. And that's the lesson I learned. I said, nope, you ain't never got to worry about me. I'm coming. I'm watching. I'm seeing. And I'm focused. And it's fun. And then all of a sudden, you can have fun.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But boy, just warning that when you do that, and that's one thing too, I had to move on because I had to realize, I had a message on my message machine. I said, hey, this is Terry Crews. I'm taking it to the next level and I'm not going back. Leave a message. And all the people who was like, where you going? Where you going? Oh, okay. Oh, not. Them the cats didn't get my new number. Because I realized, I said, man, I need a new circle. And the circle that will get me there has got to be the ones that are happy I'm getting moved up here. You know what I mean? And anybody that got crazy, I mean, it's funny because me and my father had a lot of issues, man. I mean, again, he used to beat my mom. He used to do all this crazy stuff. And then he called me up before I get on AGT and cussed me out. You ain't nothing. You ain't nothing. This and I remember just going.
Was he drinking?
Yeah.
T?
Yeah.
And so he got like this when he was drinking.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
is that why you don't drink?
That's why I don't drink. That's why I don't drink. I watched my father get drunk and he beat up my mom. That was the earliest memory, man, watching him knock my mother out.
So he calls you up before you go on AGTV, and he's saying, what's he saying to you?
He's cussing me out.
Okay.
It's like, you ain't shit.
Where did this come from?
I don't know. It's one of them things where you think you big and stuff, and I'm going, wow. And it got to a time where I actually had to change my number. And the only way I would communicate with him was through someone else. Mm-hmm. Is he all right? Okay, cool. But that stuff deep, man. Mm-hmm. And it was easier to get rid of friends that way, where you go, hey, I can move on. Or so-called friends, you realize, that's not a friend anymore. But it's a whole nother thing when it's like your father.
Right.
And my mom passed away a few years ago. So now it's just him. But it's one of those things where I realize what it is. It's okay. He's jealous. He's angry. But that's okay.
Have you and he always had this contentious relationship?
Yeah. Your
earliest memories?
Earliest. I remember, we were driving. He was driving me, picked me up from practice because he didn't want to pick me up from practice. He's like, oh man, I'm wasting my time. I got to go do this. Because he didn't like sports. And he said, I said, man, I'm going to make it in the NFL. He said, only 1 in a million make it in the NFL. Only 1 in a million. I said, I'm 1 in a million. I looked him dead in the car. I probably was 12. I said, I'm 1 in a million. You got to understand, I'll never forget this. Mm-hmm. These are moments make me who I am. And I said, man. And I remember those conversations. And I know that. Even as I walk around this town, I am 1 in a million.
As you've gotten older, have you ever tried to sit down and have a conversation with your father? Have you ever guys have thought about going to therapy together and try to get to the root? You're 55. I understand you have a very contentious relationship, but you only get one.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes you probably think you don't miss him because you have the opportunity to pick up the phone and call him. But T, there might be one day that you don't have an opportunity to talk to him.
I know. And, that might be, I'll be honest with you, man, that might be the reason we sitting here today. Just talking about this is making me realize there's got to be, we got to find a way to make this work. Yeah. We got to find a way. I mean, and it's wild because I tried. I call and then, you find out he's drinking, because he'll lie. I ain't drinking, and then he cut.
But all the signs that he is drinking.
All the signs. You know what I mean? Everything. Because he's a whole different person when he's not.
Right.
So.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have an older brother, a younger sister. Mm-hmm. And there's the guy that I was going in between.
What's their relationship like with your father? Or is it just you?
No, it's
everybody.
I mean, yeah, because
but like you said, everybody was drinking.
Everybody was there when he was beating my mother.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it makes it very, very difficult. And when she passed, that was a really, really hard time. Because that's the thing, man. It's almost like, why didn't you, it should have been you. You beating her, and she just internalizing all that. She got sick, and that was it. And it's like, man, but it's one of those things, I think if he was willing, and we just got to find out if he would be willing. I have to find out if he'd be willing to do that, so we could all sit down together.
Yeah, have you ever had a conversation with him like, Dad, why you treat Mom like this? Why did you do some of the things that you did?
You're talking to a person who would literally be like, one thing he says, I didn't beat her that bad.
That bad?
Bruh, when you're talking those kind of words, you're like, man, What are you saying? I didn't beat her that bad. You're talking to her son. And he's never been able to acknowledge that. And what happens, this is a problem, man. Listen, and this is one thing I realized, that if you don't deal with these things early or where you're at, they harden.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Bible talks about hardening your heart. And there's a point where you feel like, well, I'm good no matter what. And I never wanted to get like that. You gotta understand, man, I had to revamp my whole relationship with my own wife. 20 years in, I had to admit I had been unfaithful to her. You know how wonderful, I'm telling you all the stuff, the great stuff she did, the whole thing, that still wasn't enough for me to be faithful. And I had to turn.
When you was at your lowest, she was there.
You see? And I went, man. And I had to go, because I was going to turn, it was going to be this whole hardening of my heart. Well, I'm finally realizing, well, you know, it was you. Because you got to understand, when you're in that mindset, it's like, it's always somebody else. It's always somebody else's problem. Hey, not me, I'm good.
Right.
And I'll never forget, I felt like we was going to break up. We had just celebrated our 20th anniversary. We're on 34 now.
Wow.
But I said, I don't think we're going to make it. But the thing is, there were things I never told her. You know, there were secrets that I was holding, stuff that I'd done that I never said nothing about.
That she didn't know about.
She didn't know, but she suspected. You know, they know.
Yeah.
She's like, And finally, she said, this is the thing, man. This is what got me. She said, what is it I don't know about you, Terry Crews? And that, you know, sometimes you pop a spring. And she could have said that any other day and it wouldn't have done it. And it went, bah! And it said, tell her. Because if you don't tell her, it's almost like God told me, he said, I'll never be with you again if you don't say that.
Did you feel like if you didn't tell her at that moment,
and
she'd have found out everything on her own, it'd have been a whole different ball game?
Whole different ball game. Oh, easy. Well, that's the thing, man. Look, hi. How does it work in the court? First of all, you turn yourself in. If you admit guilt, you get the leniency of the court. But if they catch you,
right?
If you talk about
you take it to trial, you got to get the full. You got to get the hardship sentence.
Oh, bam! That gavel come down hard. And I said, "This is what happened."
Obviously, as you're explaining, you're telling her some of the transgressions that you've had that she didn't know, she suspected. And I'm sure there are tears starting to flow.
Yeah.
And that's starting to break your heart because she was there when no one else was. Yeah. She knew you at your lowest and she picked you up so you could be at your highest. And now you got to tell her, babe, I'm not the man that you thought I was.
Hey, man, there ain't no kind of pain than hurting the one who loves you the most. That's a whole nother level of pain. I mean, you can be kind of cruel to people you don't really care about or whatever, but somebody who's always down, who never disappointed you, is always. And I look at my wife right now, and I'm like, wow, you gotta understand, man. Like knowing, there were times I would come home and she'd be in tears, and I know it was because of me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that hurts a woman. That's to the core. And I remember just going, I have to do anything and everything. But this is the thing too. I realized running doesn't help. I wasn't going to run anymore. And I said, I just have to acknowledge and I got to make amends. And now, whether she stayed with me or not, that's up to her. And this is the thing, that's why I never looked.
So you did what you did. It actually wasn't for her. It was for you because it was eating you.
Yeah.
It was killing. You was dying slowly inside.
Yep. Oh yeah. I mean, you're living a lie. Bro, you know. Hey man, you know when you lying.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know when you tell it, and then all of a sudden it just all come down. I didn't want to live in a lie anymore. And dude, this is the thing, man. What I like to call it is a whole person. Because what happens is you have a double life. You literally like one way this way, one way that way. Man, and that's a whole nother level of stress. When you got to be two people all the time. Which lie did I tell?
Right.
Let me say, I used to be like, Why don't you believe me? But the real question I should have been asking was, why am I lying?
Why aren't you telling the truth?
Shannon, dude. And I'm listen.
When someone's with you,
there.
T, when someone's with you for that long, they know you, bro.
Yeah.
You're basically a teenager. She done been your late teens, your 20s, your early 30s.
Right. We grew up together.
Yeah.
But see, this is the thing. She gave me all that time because she always was suspicious. She was suspicious, and she just sat in her way like, is he gonna tell me? She was always giving me the benefit, always sticking there anyway. And dude, but I have to say this, the happy ending is literally after that 20-year point when we almost broke up, we got closer than ever. And I mean, the next 14 have been beyond belief. Like, cause I'm a whole person.
Right.
Like, ain't no lies, ain't no nothing. It's like, this is what it is. And that's the thing, man. It's like, one thing I want everybody to know about me is that I'm not Hollywood. And when you look at the term Hollywood, I want people to know that I'm human. This is one reason why I say these things. Simply because, people go out and they're like, the whole desire is to be looked at like, oh, you're a superstar, you're this and this, you're infallible. Nope. People are like, man, you said some stuff that got offended me. I know. Man, you hurt my feelings when you've been in it. I totally understand. That's me. Mm-hmm. I did that. You know what I mean? There was a lot of people mad at me for different things, different reasons, and I totally upped up. I spoke and I should have shut up. And I look back and I go, man, I'm sorry. A lot of times I have to acknowledge that, but a lot of times you have to acknowledge that there's some people just not going to like you.
Right.
And understand that too. Mm-hmm. But I feel human because this is another thing. As a football player, you lose humanity. You become a god. And it always comes back to bite you. As an entertainer, the same way. Because people put you on a high pedestal. Oh, he's never this, no. Hey, man, we all human.
Right.
Big time.
Right.
And that's why I want to always keep out there.
Eddie Murphy wrote you in Norbit. And you talk about you wanted to be a comedic actor.
Yeah.
There's no bigger one than Eddie Murphy.
Never.
And he wrote you in Norbit.
Can I tell you the story?
Yes.
I know.
Please do.
We run out of time.
Nah, we got time.
Bro, I got invited over Eddie's house. And I said, man, but I said, but you ain't Eddie. The dude that invited me wasn't Eddie. I said, man, I don't know. He said, no, it's cool, man. Eddie said I could bring some people around there. I said, dude, come on, man. I do not want to show up at Eddie's house and not supposed to be there. So, I said, but I had to, he's like, no, man, Eddie is cool.
Right.
So we go over to his house, man, and I'm like, oh my God, this place is the most palatial thing I've ever seen. I didn't know people live like this. I swear, man, that was at the moment where you're like, good God, this is one of the most giant people in the world. And he's there and people and there's food and everything and the house full of people and all things. And I'm like, but where's Eddie? Oh man, I'm just thinking, Lord. And Eddie's at the top of the stairs. And I went, oh, he's looking over the whole thing. I'm like, oh man. And then he comes right down the stairs, looks me dead in the eye. Like, and he ain't looking at nobody else in the room. He's looking at me. I'm like, oh, damn it. I knew I wasn't supposed to be here. Like, he looking at me like, he said, you walked dead over to me, man. I'm going, oh, I'm about to get kicked out of this man's house. He said, T, come here. And I follow him and we go to the hallway. He said, hey man, my brother's writing this movie. My brother Charlie, he said, he's writing this movie called Norbit, man. We wrote just for you. Bam! He said, what you want? You want to be in this movie with us? I said, holy God, who gets this? Who gets this, Shannon? Certainly, there's billions and billions of people on earth.
Right.
And I got that.
Right.
You ain't got to tell me nothing. I feel like that endorsement, the fact that he said, we wrote this for you. Because they recognize the passion that I bring to every role. They knew I wasn't going to mail it in. They knew I wasn't going to complain. They knew I was going to come with it. Big Blackjack. And I did. And I'm so thankful for it, man. The fact that I worked with Eddie and Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie, and look, Charlie's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Good friend.
Yeah.
Good friend. Just blows my mind.
You also were in Soul Plane with with Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin Hart. That was one of the first things.
And this is kind of before Kevin Hart became the K Hart that we know him as currently.
Oh.
Did you see this kind of meteoric rise
Yes.
for him?
Yes, Kevin was a superstar. But see, you gotta understand, Soul Plane was the most bootleg movie of all time. I was at the gas. No, wait. I was at the gas station, and I was like, man, this movie coming out in 6 months. They're like, hey, man, you did a good job in Soul Plane. I'm like, huh? I saw it last night. I said, how you? Man, I got it at the house, man. What you talking about? I was like, I pumped my gas. Dude, I went to Roscoe's. It's sitting out there in front of Roscoe's. I said, how y'all get so? He like, man, just go in there and get your waffles, bruh. Don't bother me, man. I wanted to be like, man, y'all can't be selling these movies like that. Hey, man, go get your waffles, bruh. Don't be messing with me. I was like, all right. They selling my movie outside. Dude, the streets love Soul Plane. They didn't pay a dime to see it, though.
It was awesome. I loved it.
It was awesome. Hey, man. But the streets had it 6 months before it came out. You know that copy came straight from Technicolor. Somebody in Technicolor, it's like the McDonald's scam. You know, right. McDonald's Monopoly?
Yes.
That somebody on the inside was giving it out?
Yeah.
And somebody on the inside sent that straight to the street because they knew they could get money on it.
Right.
Everybody made money but Kevin and the producers of that movie. But see now, but think about it. Look what Kevin is now.
Right. I mean, you do voice acting. I mean, Boondocks, American Dad, Spider-Man, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Do you, because a lot of people say they like doing voiceover roles. Do you like that?
Love it. Everything. In fact, oh man, I don't know. I can't even say it yet. Dang it.
Oh, you got something else?
I know. I'll tell you after. But I love it. I love doing all this stuff, man. I mean, remember, it's all entertainment. You got now understand this. I got to go back to another thing. When I started, people weren't doing, stars weren't doing commercials.
Right.
And I remember getting this opportunity because one guy fell out. They had hired some guy to do it, and they said, well, we had this Terry Crews type guy. Why don't we just ask Terry Crews if he would do it? They presented me with the first Old Spice commercial. And I said, hell yeah!
Yes.
Hell yeah! And I went in there, man, and they was like,
you grew up wearing those.
I don't know.
You grew up wearing Old Spice back, and everybody wore that.
Everybody. And look, first of all, you gotta understand, it was kind of like on the outs. Like Old Spice was, they were thinking about changing it and the whole thing. And all of a sudden, it became iconic. I said, you can entertain with 2 minutes, 1 second voiceover, you can entertain. I said, my rule, I have no rules. And dude, I did that whole campaign for 10 years.
Wow.
It changed the game. Like all of a sudden you have major stars now doing commercials.
Right.
And the whole thing. But Old Spice changed the game. They played it all over the NFL. That was another thing that was kind of like my revenge on the league. Because you couldn't watch a game without seeing some crazy Terry Crews Old Spice commercial.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I
don't know if you have any horror stories, but Terrence Howard said that he was only paid like $12,000 for doing Hustle and Flow. You have any horror stories in which you felt that you didn't get the proper compensation that you deserve?
First of all, I understand what Terrence is saying, but I have never, ever, ever looked at whatever money I got as a horror story. Mm-hmm. If I did it, I loved it.
Right.
See, but this is the problem. There's a saying I have to say, you can't nod yes and mean no. If I nod yes, I looked at the terms and say, okay, you're going to pay me $4,000 for 2 days. Okay. If I said, okay, I can't come back later and be like, I only got $4,000 for that. Hey man, that's what you presented.
Right.
So there it is. To me, I'm not going back on that.
Right.
And this keeps my heart always full of gratitude. Because once I start to complain about any of that, it starts to mess with my legacy. I didn't get nothing for training day. How about that? I didn't get a zero. But it changed my life forever. You didn't know who I was if it wasn't for a no-paying job. First of all, name somebody play football for money when they start. You don't get no money.
Right.
You play football for free. You play basketball for free. Then you get all the way to the pros and you get the millions. Ain't no other way, bruh. There's nothing else. Wait, there's no way to hop, skip, and jump this thing. You see what I'm saying? But that's the thing. People are trying to invent ways to get right to the money. But hey, man, first of all, nobody knew who I was, and I got my shot. I got paid maybe $4,000 on Friday after next, but that's why I came up to Cube and said, thank you. Thank you.
That was a start.
That was the start. Now,
Ooh,
I make money now.
You've been a part of 3 shows that did at least 100 episodes.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Are We There Yet? Everybody Hates Chris. That's an extremely rare feat
It's crazy.
for a single actor to have 3 different shows.
Very rare.
To reach that.
Very rare. But again, I love working. I love what I'm doing. Just did a movie with Dave Bautista coming out next year called The Killer's Game. So honored, man. Like, who gets this, dude? I'm living. You talking to an old football player. You know that.
Yeah.
When I look at the players I play with, and they just like, man, you killing it, man. You like, and I got to take it. But again, when I look at the fact that tomorrow's not promised,
Right.
Shannon. I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. So I'm going, and I'm going to take it. But every one of those roles makes me better. I learned on the fly. I didn't go to school.
Right.
So I learned by doing 100 episodes of show.
Right.
You know, it's funny. I'm on the road. I learned by acting. So Tashina Arnold, she'd be sitting there and I was like, man, these lines, they're hard to learn. These lines, I'm trying to learn these lines. She said, Terry, sing them. I said, what are you talking about? She said, sing your lines. If you sing it, you know how you sing, you memorize songs, right?
Yes.
She said, when you talk it, sing it, and you remember it. See, that's a seasoned actress telling me the keys to the game, and I'm ready to receive it. Dude, I said, it changed my life.
Right.
And Tashina is one of the most brilliant been acting since she was a kid. And she had all this knowledge, but I'm open to it because I'm like, how do I do this? And I have no problem asking for help. Right. No problem.
You turned down the Expendable 4 roles because of an assault and because you refused to withdraw the petition of the civil suit. Was that difficult for you, or were you standing on, as they say, not business, but principle?
It was extremely difficult because I love those guys, man. We did this together. You know, Randy Couture, Dolph Lundgren, Sylvester Stallone. I call him my dad in the business. He was like, man, I'm gonna put you in this thing. And then when the 4th one came, the producer told me, you ain't gonna be in it if you don't drop this case. I said, come on, man. I said, what kind of game are you playing? Now remember, I already been manipulated by the NFL. I'd never forget when I had to go home on that Monday. I had to bring back my playbook.
Right.
So you can get rid of me anytime you want. You know what I mean? But this was my terms. This is my Barry ain't going back. You know what I mean? This is me like, no, I'm not going to nod my head yes and mean no. I mean no this time.
Right.
And I love those guys, man. Jason Statham, all of them. And I hope we can do something together in the future. And it ain't their fault. You know what I mean? But there was just things I have to say, remember now, like I said, if I'm doing it, you got to know I've already counted all the costs. All the costs. And I've done many, many things for free, but that meant more to me than the things I got paid a lot of money on.
How difficult was it to come out? Because you said a Hollywood exec roped you.
Yeah.
And that's not easy for a man, especially a man of your stature.
Right.
And then all of a sudden the fabrications of the stories that started being fabricated about you.
Yeah.
Did you think, because you said anytime you come out with something, you've already calculated the risk and the cost of whatever you're going to say or do.
Yep.
Did you think you would get the kind of blowback because I don't think a whole lot of people believed you.
Yeah. I knew it was going to be strange. First of all, if it hadn't happened to me and I heard it, I'd have been like, man, what is this dude talking about? That's why I never got mad. I couldn't get mad at people going, man, what are you doing, man? Big ass Terry Crews.
Right.
But see, I'd already been through probably 8 years of therapy, me and my wife, rebuilding, me understanding what true power was, me understanding that it wasn't about how hard you see, you gotta understand, in the NFL, road rage works. That works. But in real life, go to jail. Real life, hey man, you do what you did on the NFL football field, you do what you did in MMA, you going to jail, straight to jail.
Right.
Jail full of cats that was like, I ain't taking that.
Right.
And I realized, well, because my wife made me promise, she said, Terry, because she, you know, I used to have hair trigger and temper and be fighting people. And she was like, man, what are you doing? She's like, we're going to lose everything. You can't do this. You got a son now. And the son was my last one. That's my fifth. She's like, you want to be able to show him, you want to be able to be there for him, but you acting like this? And I realized something. And I said, man, there's much more power in thinking your way out of situations than fighting your way out of them. And this was what blew me away. It's because my wife was right there. And I remember we went home and I was like, this is bullshit. I was like, I can't believe this. She said, Terry. You said, ain't a woman in your life ain't been through that shit. Okay. Wow. And she said, now what you gonna do? He said, because we can't fight our way throughout this stuff. He said, your daughter, your mother, me, been places where you just had to eat it. I said, you're right. And I said, you know what though? I said, I'm gonna do it the other way. I'm gonna sue him. And she said, there you go. And I'm gonna tell you how to do it. Wow. My wife was right there with me. And she said, you tell what happened and you show people this could happen. And I remember, I said, hey man, size ain't got nothing to do with it. First of all, if you did it, I mean, look, it's like saying I'm too big to get shot. Well,
actually, you the perfect size.
You see what I'm saying? Hey, well, if the bullet hit,
Yeah.
What you know what I mean? I'm big, I'm giant. My chest was so, no, that went right through. I'm standing there and it happened.
Yeah.
Just if I acknowledge, if I don't say nothing, that don't mean it didn't happen.
Correct.
So what does that mean? But now I say, hold up. Because they were telling me that he could get away with it, he could do it. This is my agency, man. I'm like, I paid y'all millions of dollars, man, millions. And of course, I'm sitting here going, I'm on the black side of this thing. So I'm going, yo, wait a minute. Now, would you be doing this to your white clients?
Right.
I'm going, I said, so what is going on? Why is this dude still there? And they said, well, they thought I was trying to do some money, like give me a money grab. I said, no. I said, I don't want no money, but he got to go. You don't get to touch the clients. You don't get to do that. And all of a sudden they were like, no, he gets to stay. He's a partner. I was like, all right, we go. And dude, I spent $500,000 of my own money. But how many women have that? How many people have that? How many? I was in the position, like I said, how many? I get to have that because I got that kind of money. But for me, I would have spent $1 million to win $1. And I said to my wife, and my wife was like, go ahead, Terry. She said, this is how you fight. Not with your fists, but you think your way through this thing. And you know what? They finally came up with it and finally admit, because this is the thing. When you do stuff like that, you don't rob the biggest bank in the place. You rob a whole bunch of little ones. And all these people came out the woodwork, man, that nobody knows about that joined my case. They were like, yeah, he did this to me too. Yeah, he did this. He was coming. I said, this dude. And all of a sudden, they were like, hey, Terry, guess what? We're going to fire him and we're going to give you all your money back. How about that? I said, cool.
All the money that y'all done took in from them fees, I need that.
All that. Give me my money back. Thank you. And I moved on. But see, But remember, it's not about revenge.
Right.
It's about, but this thing, men, and this is one thing I want every man out there to know, is that you worth it. Because you can discount yourself, like, oh man, it wasn't no thing, it ain't no thing. But this is the thing, how I had to look at myself. I have a little picture of myself when I was 10 years old on my desk. And I said, man, what if somebody had messed with that little kid? What would you do? That's you. Take care of you. Take care of you. Really, don't let nobody treat that little boy like he's worth less. Because that little boy is me.
Wow.
And that's the same thing. I think every man needs to understand who he really, really is. And the thing is, doesn't mean beating people up.
Right.
Doesn't mean swinging a bat, shooting up the place. Doesn't mean driving a car through the center of the thing. It means, hey man, you can't do that. No. Standing up and taking your voice, and that's your story. And I stood with all, and let me say, I was inspired by all these women that came forward. That was like, hey, me too. This happened to me. This happened to me. And you know what? I cannot count the number of men that came forward. And it was like, man, wrestlers, NFL players, all this. They was like, you know, that happened to me. And they would come out. I would never tell people to make their stuff public.
Right.
I would never, ever say it. But you got to tell a counselor, a friend, somebody, so that you can get past this. And I was just in the public eye, and I had that skill and ability to deal with it in the public because I'm always public.
How did it make you feel that some prominent people in our community made light of your situation?
I understood it. Man, you gotta know, I'm from Flint, man. You know, first of all, you grow up with, you in the hood, you know about what's wrong with you. You know what I mean? You got a big head, that's big head Johnny.
Right.
You got big ears, that's ears, whatever. You know? You know?
Right.
It's like you grow up with, you gotta be tough.
Right.
That's the whole thing. Trash talk, whatever, get dunked on, you don't live it down. I mean, that's just the way it was. And I started to realize, well, they're gonna talk anyway.
So.
You know what I mean? So let me give them something to talk about. But I started to realize, when I had so many black people come forward and say, thank you. Thank you. Hey, bro, thank you for coming forward and saying what happened.
Right.
Because that happened to me. Man, people pulling me to the side. And that's where I know I was right. I said, no, this is a problem. I was going to parties, going to Hollywood stuff, man, and people pulling me to the side in tears. I just got to talk to somebody. And I'm going, man, I knew when I went in front of the United States Congress and told that story in front of all those senators and the whole thing, I said, this is a major problem. And I knew my purpose. It was almost like it transcended football, Hollywood. Now I'm in the government circles and I'm going, wow. And if one person's life changed because of that, it was worth it.
You caught a lot of criticism, a lot of flack, a lot of heat with the Gabrielle Union situation. I think she was released from AGT. And it seemingly some of the tweets that you said about black communism, I think something to that effect. What was the terms? Black supremacy. And for the longest time, it seemed like black Twitter was on your side. The black society was on your side. But it seemed like when you didn't come to the defense of Gabrielle, it seemed like it switched on you a little bit. Yeah. And then it was tough because you're on an island. Yeah. You're on an island. How were you able to get over that? And then have you talked to Gabrielle since then?
Yes. Yeah. Let me tell you, man, that is one of my biggest regrets. Again, I apologize publicly, but I up to this time, I never had talked to her. And this is the thing, man. And the problem I had was getting on Twitter.
Yeah.
And you can't have a nuanced conversation. This is the thing too.
Not in 180 characters back then, 140, now it's 280, but you still can't.
And this is another thing. you can't do anything angry. And I got angry.
Right.
People was talking, the internet talks. They talk junk. They talk about my wife. They talk about my kids. And I got mad. And then you start tweeting. Angry tweeting it's just like road rage.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't smart. And let me tell you a beautiful story. And I think this is going to sum it all up. And I really, really hope and pray that everyone understands, because this is such a beautiful thing. 2 years ago, my wife and I were celebrating our anniversary at it was at a music festival with Robert Glasper and all these cats. And we sit up there and Dwayne Wade and Gabby come in. And now I didn't know they were there. But my wife was looking behind me. She's like, honey. And I'm like, I look and I said, oh man. And I said, because I had apologized publicly, but we had never talked personally. Mm-hmm. Now I knew through therapy is one of those things that you have to wait to be invited into people's circles, especially if there was anything wrong. Man, Dwayne Wade comes up to me and I get this tap on my shoulder. Dude, it was the most beautiful thing ever. I turn around, he says, what's up, black man? What's up? He said, I see another black king here. I just want to acknowledge you. And he gives me a hug. Wow. Hey, man, I'm broke. I'm sitting here going, now, if anybody could have been like, man, bump this dude. I'm out of here. Mm-hmm. I said, Dwayne, man, can I talk to you and your wife together? He said, man, come over here. Shannon, it was me, Gabby, Rebecca, and Dwayne. Just us four. No internet, no nothing. And I went right over and I said, I am sorry, Gabrielle, because there's things I didn't know. I'm speaking angry. But there was so much to the story that I didn't even fully understand. And I screwed that up. Mm-hmm. And then the internet got involved, and then it was horrifying. Mm-hmm. And my wife, this is another thing, my wife was telling me not to say anything. Right. No, don't. Right. But I'm Terry Crews. This is where you get arrogant. This is where you get prideful. And I was wrong. I was wrong. And I apologized to her face again. I said, Gabby, please accept this apology. And dude, she did. She gave me the biggest hug. Hugged my wife. Dude, we ate with them. We had lunch with them. Enjoyed this music. And I'm sitting here like, who gets this? Man, Dwayne and Gabby, I got nothing but the utmost respect. Because if anybody could have just been like, I ain't got nothing to say to them. But I said, what a move. Like, man, that transcended what I call, it was from heaven, man. It was like a whole nother thing. And a level of humility that it took for him to come over and just be like, give me that love like that, man. Right. They will forever be. I'm in admiration. I'm in awe of him and her. And I'm just thankful. I'm thankful to call them friends. And I'm thankful that they gave me the shot to say that I apologize to their face without the internet, without all this junk. And it was hard, man. That whole time.
Yeah, because there's a lot of tweets going on. Black Lives Matter, but we got to make sure Black lives are better. Or things of that. So it kind of morphed. You were like angry that people were saying these shots, and it kind of morphed into something.
You can't. And this is another thing, man. It's just that, all things. I had to learn to shut up.
Right.
The hot take. You don't need to give a hot take.
Right.
There's no hot takes on everything. You reach a point where I'm in the public eye. Time for me to issue a statement.
Right.
Huh? No. In fact, don't say anything.
Right.
And let me tell you, man, just like I learned in the NFL how to really, really work hard. With this thing, I had to learn how to be quiet. You out of your league here. You know what I mean? This is too complex.
Right.
A conversation. There's too much nuance here for you to wrap it up in a tweet.
No.
You know what I mean? It's too much pain involved. And I hurt a lot of people. With that. And it's, again, it's one of those things where I apologize, but I have to say, I'm like, I know in my heart why, because I was angry.
Right.
And you can't speak out of anger.
You hurt me too, T, when you tried to boycott Magic City.
Oh, I was getting on everybody's nerves back there.
You heard me like, I ain't closing that. I said, he out there trying to boycott, I'm gonna be on the other side. He talking about closing down, open it up. Open it up.
That was my porn problem. You know what I mean? I've been very vocal about that.
Right.
But that was me. You know what, man? Again, you know, what can I say, man? And again, there's people who hate my guts to this day. I totally understand.
You ever been to Magic?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we were playing a
Hello. You gonna close it down after you done got your people.
No, I've been there.
I know.
City. I mean, when I was in the league, that's the first stop in Atlanta, man. They'd be like, okay, we going. You know what I mean? Again, man, my thing is, I gotta shut up. And even my wife was like, you need to be quiet. I said, you know, I think I do. And over the last couple of years, I've been learning, the problem is I was too quick with statements and my ears weren't open and I needed to listen. And that's what I've been doing now. I just tell the story, my own story, my personal stories, and I've just been quick to listen. That's where I'm at.
This scar, and people, I've noticed this.
Yeah.
Explain the story how that happened.
I was 2 years old in the hood, and my mother, we was in a little toe up spot, and I put an extension cord in my mouth, and it exploded. This is actually repaired.
Right.
I had a huge keloid on my lip when I was a kid, and all the pictures of me as a kid, and I had it taken out when I was in high school and repaired a little bit, but it's almost, it's my reminder of I should have died. You know, I was shocked, but not electrocuted. Thank God. But at 2 years old, that could have been horrible.
Obviously, growing up with that, you know, when you grow up like we grow up, kids are going to make light of anything.
Yeah.
If you the slightest in any shape, form, or manner, it's going to become a joke.
Oh, yeah. I was called electric lip. They was like, electric lip, ooh, electric lip. They had a whole little thing.
So how was it? How was your upbringing? Were you bullied a lot? Because I read where you like the way you talk is not typical for Flint.
Yeah.
And so they like, you trying to be white.
Yeah. I mean, you got to understand, I'm an artist and I'm walking through cats from the gang members, the drug dealers. It's the 80s.
Right.
Okay. 80s Flint, Michigan, which is crazy right now because the factories are dying and people went straight into the drug game. So it was about, you know, you had to look cool. You had to have your troop suit. You had to have you had the Jordans on, woo. And so I had a portfolio and I'm like, and anytime you talked about wanting, because again, I've talked a lot and they were like, you want to be white. You want to be, if I talk riches, I want to be rich and I want to, yeah, you want to be white. And that was kind of hard because, you know, I had to hide a lot of my talent. You know, I had to be, man, I don't know what y'all talking about, man. That's where Friday After Next came from. I was just jumped into one of them and that attitude and that whole thing. People were like, man, he ain't even like that. People who knew me.
Right.
But nobody who knew me, they were like, oh man, I was scared of Damon for years. But the thing is that I had to, what they call it? Signal. What is it? I forget. It's like you switch code, the code switch.
Mm-hmm.
I had the code switch in order to make it. You know what I mean? Because I was just very sheltered, mom religious, father hates sports, the whole thing, and they just make it home.
Right.
But then you going through the hood on the way home, and Flint was going through everything, so it got really crazy.
You tell the story, I read the story, that when you were 5, you tried to kiss your dad on the cheek to tell him you love him. Because that's seemingly, as a young boy, that's what you wanted. You wanted to hear your father tell you he loved you.
Yeah.
So since he never told you, you were going to tell him. And you said he looked at you.
Looked at me like I had an eye in the middle of my forehead. And I remember, he was still drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember kissing him on the cheek, and I was just waiting for this, like, I love you, son. I was like, I love you, Dad. But he looked at me like, and I said, I'll never do that again. I'll never do that again. And it kind of became where I knew that's where we were going to be. You know what I mean? That's where our relationship kind of.
Even at 5, you didn't. Even at the right age of 5, you didn't see your relationship progressing any further than what it was at that moment. Even as you reach your teenage years, your 20s, forever how long he was on earth, and you continue to grow as a young man.
Well, this is the thing, man. Being that vulnerable hurt.
Yeah.
Because I was vulnerable at that moment. And I realized that even as an actor, my whole thing is showing vulnerability. You know what I mean? You don't see a character until you're vulnerable.
Right.
And the fact that all the stuff I've been going through is a response to that. Go ahead. I'll tell people that I got molested.
Mm-hmm.
That's showing vulnerability. Where the whole thing was, you gotta be hard. You can't never let them see you sweat. You know, that's weak. But I realized vulnerability is strength.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
Fact is, I'm me. Listen, I hurt. You step on my toe, it hurt. You shoot me, it hurts.
Right.
You know what? There are times I cry. I love to shoot. I'll cry a couple of times while we're doing this interview.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of things that hurt. And it's, first of all, entertainment itself is how we deal with pain. Sometimes you laugh, sometimes you cry. But that's how we deal with it. You know what I mean? You need to see a funny movie to deal with your pain.
Mm.
You need to see a drama to recognize your pain. You know what I mean? That's why you put on a slow jam. You know what I mean? Something that you gotta feel it. You lost her. You know what I mean? She was gone. She's gone. Mm-hmm. And you got to feel it. These things, this is what entertainment is about. And if you can't show vulnerability, you can't be in this game. Not here. And I realized I was gonna have a problem if I couldn't. So I said, I'm gonna just be that dude and let the chips fall. I
read the story, and I always wanted to ask you this because it takes a special type of, it takes for a son to actually fight his father, because the thing I've always told my kids, I say, our dynamic will never change. I'm always going to be your dad. You're always going to be my child. Yeah. I said, and I never want you to put me in a situation where I view you as anything other than that.
Yeah.
And so we've always maintained a relationship in that aspect. I'm the father. They're the child. There's a respect level on both sides as they have reached adulthood.
Yes.
For you to go to that level, because to fight your dad, you no longer view him as your dad. No. You view him as someone on the street that at this moment, I don't care.
That was the darkest day. Darkest day. I mean, you got to understand the context of that situation is he had just hit my mother. And I'm going
in front of you.
Well, no, he had hit. I wasn't there, but I got a phone call.
Okay.
And, your daddy just hit your mama. Oh. Now, I'm a grown-ass man. Post-NFL. I already played in the league. Like, hey, man, what?
You on that?
I'm 245?
Yeah. Okay, so
you're right.
You're right.
You're talking to a 5-year-old boy.
Right.
I'm like, bruh, what? And see, this thing, too, I had already called. I said, hey, man, don't trip. don't trip. My kids ain't never been around this. They ain't never had nothing like this. So just act right. You know, holidays hard.
Right.
Holidays
Just be on your
hard.
best behavior with the kids.
Please, just please. And dude, he hit her, knocked her tooth sideways. Like it was crooked. Hit her dead in the mouth. She bleeding. I said, didn't I tell you? Now, bruh, everything came out at that one time. It wasn't that I didn't see you as my father anymore. It was I'm 5 and you're that dude that I was so scared of. And I got to get rid of this right now. Now you going to get what you've been given.
25 years.
But listen, man, I did it. And I felt
At that moment.
horrible. Wait, I beat his ass and I felt nothing. Thought I was going to feel, oh, this is great. This is wonderful. Now, finally, it's all straight. Felt worse. Because now I just beat up the man that brought me into this world.
Right.
Huh? See, this thing, all this stuff that people think of, the road rage, you jump out the car, shoot the guy, shoot him. How you feel now? Oops. There ain't never been in one of them moments where it's like, oops. Damn, I went too far. I shouldn't have done that. How many times do we gotta say that?
Right.
I've done it. I've done it too far.
What did he say after that moment? Once it was done, what did he say to you? How did he look at you? Because it's not so much what he said, T, it's the look that he gave you.
Bruh, I wouldn't even look at it. That's how I didn't want to look at it. I was ashamed.
You know you're going too far.
A man is never meant to attack his parents.
No.
It's just not. It's just does not supposed to exist. But let me tell you, we did have a great moment about 10 years later, because I left and never came back for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
We did have a moment because I said, and this is during my therapy sessions, and I called my father up and I said, you know, I need to talk to you because I need to find one thing that I'm thankful for you for. And I said, I'm thankful for you for having me. Because if you didn't have me, I wouldn't exist. I said, thank you for being my father. And that was you just had to find one thing. It wasn't all just, hey man, if it wasn't for you, I would never be here.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. He cried. He apologized. He said he was sorry. And I never had that. Then I flew home and we hugged it out. I was like, maybe we're on a new path. And then I left and he slowly started getting back again, back hardening again. But I'll never forget. That's why I know there's a way.
Right.
There is a way.
Yeah, of course.
Just why you talking about this today, us sitting down, if he's willing, I'm going to see. I'm going to see if he's willing to try this one more time because we all running out of time.
You mentioned their wives staying together after there's some infidelity on your part. Do you believe your wife, you guys would be as close as you are now without that?
First of all, we were on our way to breaking up. I mean, 20 years in, it was over. That's why I could totally understand men that are divorced. And I'll be real, that ball was on the fence. It could have went this way, that way.
Did you start to succumb to the temptation of Hollywood?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, first of all, I had nobody who would tell me, everybody was telling me I was great. Man, oh man, don't worry about that, man. Oh, she tripping. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anybody, I was like, oh, really? They're like, oh man, look, you got money, you got this, you pay, what more she want? You see, notice, that's people who don't live with her. It ain't nowhere in your circle. Man, she tripping. And I'm going, and you listen to that, but I wasn't hearing her.
Right.
And I wasn't hearing her heart. And the thing is that the deal is, can she have secrets? And would I accept that? You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. See, just flip the script.
Right.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
I tell, man, it's so crazy. For me, it was one of them things where I had to just flip it for a minute and go, I'm not being fair to her because she don't know the real me. And the thing is, I always felt like if she found out the real me, she'd leave. And then in a way, it was kind of like, see, yep, now you know the real me and now you want to leave. And she was like, no, in fact, I want to stay, but I gotta go. Oh, this is, wow. And then I started to go to therapy. Yeah, now, I'm coming out of football. They telling me all this stuff. I'm like, this ain't me. This crazy. This is it. And I realized, yo, it was me. Mm-hmm. It was me, bro. Lots of this stuff. And she decided, she said, you know what? I'm going to work it out. Right. And I told her, I said, I understand if you didn't, but I said, I am a new man, and I'm going to show you.
The man that you thought you were marrying, I'm the him now.
Yep. And I spent the last 14 years doing that. And we closer than ever.
I read you had to pawn your ring, your wedding band several times. You had friends. And that happens a lot because everybody has advice on what you should be doing that's not married. Yep. You got friends that not bad. Man, if I had all that money, that fame, I ain't gonna be listening to that. She got a nice car, got a big home, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Bro, but you're not married. I ain't taking advice from somebody that's hanging out every night because we're at two different places.
Right. It's amazing how people who ain't where you at got all the advice in the world. Until you, now when you get there, they go, wait, whoa. I
got to go home. I got to go home.
Come on, man.
But now you talk about when I was married and you weren't, you wanted to go kick it.
You see what I mean? Look. Hey. First of all, I just realized more than ever, and this is the thing too, because again, at 55, it's different than 25.
Absolutely.
You know, I've lived long enough to see people get it, win it, lose it. And you go, damn. Ooh. You start to see the results. You know what I mean? Man, we call winners way too early, Shannon.
Yes.
But everybody, he won. He won. Wait a minute. You give it just two more years and we'll see. Wait, give it 10 more years. Mm-hmm. Give it 15 more years. Again, it's not how you start. It's how you finish. And I said, man, first of all, you can be an adult prodigy. Think about it. Everybody think about a prodigy as just a kid that knows all the math and they go, that's the kid. No, it's the cat that's 60, 70.
Right.
That's like, now I know. But wisdom and like that is not really valued in our society. So you got to be 18.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Your wife color is always is a subject that's brought up. Mm-hmm. For the record, she's black, correct?
She's black. Yes. Black mama, white daddy. And been raised like that. But again, just because she don't have that kind of look.
Right.
But her mama's black. She's from Gary, Indiana, bro. My wife was Miss Gary, Indiana, 1984. And the Gary, Indiana is like Flint.
Yes.
Ain't nothing but black people. And she was raised in black culture.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So it wasn't like she was raised in the outskirts.
How has she been able to deal with that for the better part of 40 years since she's met you? How have you been able to deal with that? Because I know you hear it all the time.
I bet you know,
he got a little money, he go get him a white woman.
Right. But she knows that. And that's the thing we got to understand. Even in Gary, they knew. The problem is, in Gary, they knew she was black.
Right.
Because they saw her mama.
Right.
And mama go to school and they go, oh yeah, shit. And she got black friends. But when we go to a new town, they're like, oh, she's a white woman. I say, no, she's Obama.
Right.
Okay. But we also have dealt with that. I'm just saying, it's one of them things where we went to join a church down here and people say, oh, this white woman, gonna bring this white woman in this church. And it's like, but if you got that attitude, that might not be the church we want to get into. Correct. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we already used to it. But we're not nothing to prove. And this is another thing, and this is what I admire about her, is that it never bothered her. She was like, I love black people. And even if some of them feel that I'm white, she said, I understand it. Wow. And it's deep to me. And that's the way I had to start thinking. Because I would get angry.
Absolutely.
But to watch her, the way she dealt with things peacefully, like, I'm not going to go there. You know what? That's the trauma that they had to deal with. And I understand it. I understand it. And I go, wow. But I love them anyway. I love that.
I'm going to get you out of here on this. AGT, you've been at this for a minute now, and you're great at it.
Yeah.
And do you see more movies, more TV? Because it seems like you got a fairly, I mean, obviously, I know how television works. You probably shoot 2 or 3 months out of the year.
Yes.
You wrap it, and then you got an opportunity to do whatever you needed to do as far as movie-wise.
Yeah, I got a big movie called The Killer's Game coming out next year. Me, Dave Bautista, Sophia Boutella. I'm a bad boy at this one. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Assassin.
Right.
But, you know, the whole business is changing. You know, I remember when, you know, right now there's only like 3 movies in the theater right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there used to be 10,
Correct.
20. Now streaming is things and all this and that, you know.
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay with it. No, first of all, the new stuff, it's new. Mm-hmm. So I'm like Quincy Jones. Don't get mad on new stuff. Let's keep going. Right. You know what I'm saying? He did Frank Sinatra. He said, "Come on, Michael Jackson," right. And whoever, Tevin Campbell. Let's keep going. Yeah. I'm that dude.
Okay.
I love doing what I do, and a lot of times, see, it's kind of wild because the business is changing so fast. And the thing is, I want to keep up. If we was doing everything on YouTube, let's do it. Look, the NFL's on YouTube, bro.
It is.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, that's unthinkable.
Amazon.
Unthinkable.
You got to be on Netflix, too.
Listen, don't hate on it. I don't hate on nothing, but I still am entertaining. Mm-hmm. I'm still doing movies. I'm still doing TV. Mm-hmm. I'm still acting. I'm still hosting. My thing is to create 5-6-way goals for me. Mm-hmm. Because I know one path is going to be, it's going to get me through the other things so I can keep going. Right. I thank God I just did a thing for The Walking Dead last year. We shot it in Atlanta. And so I'm still acting. I'm still doing all that stuff, man. It's just, again, I wish we could do White Chicks too. I wish we could.
I don't know if that kind of
I don't know. See, that's
not 2023.
Like you said, different day, bro. Different day. So now I got to flow with what's happening now.
Yeah. You remember when we were growing up, the sitcoms, All in the Family, and the Jeffersons, and the things that they said. That ain't flat. That ain't flat.
All that. You
that
watch
ain't
it
flat.
now, you're like, ooh, they would
never. They said that?
Yeah. They would never. But now, you know, that's why I did a pilot for CBS last year. It didn't get picked up. But then the strike happened.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. Like, you know, the town's coming back. Right. So we'll see what happens now. But, hey, man, I want to say this, though. And I really, really want to thank you for letting me tell that story about Dwayne and Gabrielle.
Thank you.
Because I love them. And they showed me a whole nother level of kindness that I didn't deserve. I'll be honest with you. And I'm thankful for them. And it was so wild, man. I gave them the biggest hug and I just said, man, thank you. You know, and just to tell that story and be able to tell it in the right context, because I know you sat down here with Dwayne, and, you know, and I got nothing but love for Gabrielle and Dwayne. Nothing but love. And me and Rebecca.
Thanks for stopping by Club Shay Shay. Terry Crews, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.